What's really happening in the biohacking world, it just makes me realize, that's the less than 1%, right? That's just that little tweaking, that maybe that 10%, that little tweaking, that little stuff that we have to do. When it comes to the 90%, it's how we eat, it's how we think, it's how we move, it's how we relate to others, and how we sleep.
Just to kick it off, tell us a little bit about your own menopause journey.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's quite the journey. Let me tell you, you say that your mess becomes your message. Say I was diagnosed with early menopause, premature ovarian failure at 39. I'm trained at one of the best institutions in the United States, certainly probably in the world, at Emory University in women's health. And yet when I was 39, my doctor's bag was empty to be diagnosed with infertility, premature ovarian failure. Early menopause was just devastation upon devastation. And as a result of the, journey that I've taken around the world, and I reversed that early menopause, became pregnant spontaneously with a child I was told I would never be able to have. And then around 48, plummeted, head first into perimenopause yet again, with the mood swings, hot flashes, depression, stress, anxiety, all, not to mention all the GYN symptoms that I saw my patients for: irregular menstrual cycles, breakthrough bleeding, tender breast, cramping, hot flashes, night sweats, difficulty sleeping. So what I recognized was, and that took me into the journey that pulled me out of the depths of hell. And I call this the keto green lifestyle. So I'm happy to be 55 with a soon to be 14-year-old, publishing my third book, and actually during the pandemic moved across Dallas. This is menopause transition. Really liberation and menopause freedom. We want menopause freedom.
Dive deeper into this topic. I wanted to welcome you back. My name is Orshi McNaughton, and if you're enjoying this content, may I suggest a few things to help this channel? Hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. All that helps the algorithm so others can find us. And if you have a friend that is working on optimizing her health, please share this video with her. And now let's continue with this interview excerpt. Wow. Well, first of all, congratulations on all your success of turning it around and now helping all these women with their own journey. I'm sure I've read your book, and a lot of people in your community really appreciate your message. So as you said in your book that every woman deserves to be empowered and in control of their own health and lives. So how do we opt out of this perimenopause misery?
What's really happening in the biohacking world, it just makes me realize, that's the less than 1%, right? That's just that little tweaking, that maybe that 10%, that little tweaking, that little stuff that we have to do. When it comes to the 90%, it's how we eat, it's how we think, it's how we move, it's how we relate to others, and how we sleep. So those are key components. So when we look at biohacking, we have to look at these areas, right? Because that makes all the difference. And for me, when I think of longevity, and not just the number of years that we have, but the quality of those years, and this is where I think this whole concept that, certainly saved my life is getting into ketosis in a healthy way, and the alkalinizing foods and practices that help us optimize our health. And again, having the flexibility, sometimes having our feasting, sometimes having our fasting. But for me, this longevity, this biohack is about getting keto green, because we need that mental clarity. We need to be able to respond, especially in perimenopause when your hormones are crazy. We need to be able to respond, not react, or, as in my case, was overreacting, right? And I hear from so many women, it's like, where did that monster come from? I never would have responded in that way. Absolutely. That's hormone imbalance and inflammation. When we get to the root causes of that, we address that. We support our innate physiology. Our body's wisdom takes over. And that's what I love about what I witness happening in other people's life, is this empowerment, taking our power over our body. So I think those are things that we miss sometimes in the overwhelming confusion of women's health and certainly in perimenopause and menopause.
You mentioned feasting and fasting. How is fasting different for women? Because it is different. So tell us about that.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it depends on where you are too in your menstrual cycle. There's times you can fast easier than others. For women, especially, what we know from research, a journal article published in JAMA, Journal of American Medical Association, I think it was 2016 in July, if I remember correctly. And it was about looking at women who had breast cancer and their fasting interval between dinner and when they break fast. And women who had at least a 12.5, 13-hour intermittent fast had a significantly reduced risk of recurrent breast cancer. That's huge. That's huge. We're giving our body, allowing our body the innate ability to clean up, to, fortify, strengthen, create a resilient body. And I love that. And I love that for women. The men, again, 10 times as much testosterone, they can fast longer. They can eat more typically. Women, I like seeing us break fast by 10 a.m. and eating an earlier dinner. We tend to sleep better with that. And we tend to get into autophagy better with that regimen.
Now, a lot of women, when they're going through perimenopause and definitely in menopause, struggle with feeling sexy and having intimacy and connection. And so can you tell me a couple of examples and maybe some stories of clients and how how you work with them, how you work with your own clients?
Yeah, I totally love this topic because this is an area that, I certainly struggled with myself and in helping patients. There's no area in a woman or man's life, frankly, that we're not more vulnerable in. And the first is, I want to share this with our community because sometimes we don't realize this. I mean, there's so much, of course, you'll say the brain is your sexiest organ, your confidence is sexy, right? But we need to get there. Health is sexy. So I'll share with you the ABCs of Sexual CPR. But first, I want to mention an article, research that was published. There was a research study done here in Texas at the Texas Christian University, and it looked at males and females, several markers of immune function. And they looked at how women and men were perceived as attractive. And they found a very clear association that the healthier your immune system was, the more resilient, the stronger your immune system functioned, the higher level of attractiveness you were perceived. So in some, headlines, it said attractive people have better immune system. It's the opposite. That's true. Let us not lose, I just hate how media twists things. It is healthier your immune system, the more attractive you are. And we know that because that's an energy. So if we're looking at someone and we're feeling like kind of just, would never typically be attracted to you, but I'm so attracted to you, just so you think, well, maybe they just, because they're so healthy and they're so vibrant and they have that, there's a positive energy around them. Like, wow, I'm magnetized to that individual, right? And it doesn't matter how sick you're starting with, we can turn that tide. And that is, health is attractive. And to remember that. And I will tell you, so I created a program called Sexual CPR. And so A is accept where you are now. Accept where you are now, because you are as beautiful and sexy as you are today, as you will be today. Accept where you are now, right? In this moment, and just own that. There are mirror neurons. If we're feeling like, oh, I don't want him to see that angle of me, or I've got this role or whatever, he doesn't care. Just, are you enjoying yourself? Are you happy? Accept where you are now, and don't allow those mirror neurons to create a barrier in intimacy with the person you love most in this world. So A. B, be present. Oh my gosh, I am a great list maker. Well, I can put to-do lists together. And the last time, do not need to be doing a to-do list when you're having sex or intimacy or, trying to get in the mood. Do not do your to-do list. Be present. That's where sensate focus comes in. Feel the touch. Give him clues, feedback, give your partner clues and feedback. How is this making you feel? And then C, communicate. Communication, that feedback's really important, very positive. Again, to emphasize what I said earlier, there's no area that we are more vulnerable. And I've worked with women that may have been told, for example, your vagina looks strange or whatever, and that shut them down sexually forever. Your vagina is completely normal and your vulva is completely normal. You're healthy, optimum. That's the key thing, to be healthy. So there are things that someone may have said or we may have said to someone else that can shut them down sexually. So positive, kind, heart-centered communication.
Now, where do you see anti-aging and regenerative medicine going to be in 5 years?
I definitely know that it's going to be in peptides and stem cells. I was a scientist before I went to medical school, and that's why I, have great respect for science and research. I'm also very discerning in science and research. And I think for anti-aging and collagen production, that is key. Collagen Peptides, nanomolecule science, that's going to change, but none of that makes a difference if we are, if we're inflamed. So we have to, again, the whole concept of keto green is to become more insulin sensitive, to manage cortisol, and to empower oxytocin, plus some other, biohacking. Like I love the red light therapy and the concept of like blue light blockers but honest to God, a 3-day camping trip out in nature with horses, best medicine ever.
Awesome. Well, is there any other final takeaways you would like to share?
I just think that, wherever you're dealing with now, this is a biohacking conference, a biohacking supplement. I think it comes down to checking in with yourself. How am I nourishing my body? How well am I eating? Am I eating well? Am I thinking well? Am I having positive thoughts, right? Am I moving well? Am I moving in a way that honors my body at this time with these stressors at this moment? And, am I sleeping well? And how is that? And then most importantly, am I relating to others well? I mean, I remember when I didn't want to be around anyone, probably no one wanted to be around me too. And I'm at a stage now, I'm having the best relationships of my life. I mean, my firstborn daughter asked me to deliver her firstborn daughter. I mean, what a blessing. I was the room was filled with her sisters and me. And it was just an amazing experience to be in the best relationships in my life with the people I most love in my life. And I couldn't have done that with the physiology I had a while back. So.
Hey friends, thank you for your interest in biohacking for women. I invite you to join our free virtual event by heading over to womensbiohackingconference.com to grab your free early bird registration gifts and watch similar interviews with 20 other world-leading experts, physicians, nutritionists, and industry pioneers that discuss health optimization topics through the filter of women's health.